All right, I want to have fun with this next question, right? Because as counselor educators, not all, but many of us, I think, go into this because we love teaching, or we love the clinical aspect or the supervision of it. And there's this research component to it as well. And I say that too, right? I'm like, well, I want to focus on teaching, right? And I do think that's important, right? I do pride myself on being a clinician. I think that's important, right? And research is important, but this is the route I want to go right now. I'm curious right now, like if you had more time to dream, like what are the big questions that you're trying to answer right now? Like, and what kind of research would you all want to do? Because I think during this week, I want us to dream so that our students watching start to dream themselves. So go. What do you think?
Well, may I? Because the question really got me going. I think now we are at a really interesting time in terms of integrating things into, quote, what we would call mental health. There is nutrition, okay? There is, for example, sleep, work, all these pieces that, and this is something I was thinking about. One of the symptoms of somebody who has a mental disorder is their sleep isn't so good. Now there seems to be a body of evidence that suggests, well, just maybe because people aren't sleeping well, their mental health isn't so good. As far as nutrition, just so many different things that are really starting to bubble up. So that, I guess what I would say is just find your bliss. You know, this is a field where you can really put a lot into teaching. Maybe if you're on a tenure track, you're going to have to crank out something, but make sure it's something that you find interesting, something that feeds you, and as well as, you know, the supervision. Some people love supervision. Some people, I can do some. So really, I think the wonderful thing about this profession I have found over the years, I've had the option to spend a lot more time in my teaching, and I probably haven't done as much research as I should have, as I'm saying this to my chair. Are
you saying that to be like, John, go do more research? Trust me.
No.
You know?
No, John, don't make me do more research.
Oh, you're saying
right? Yeah, but yeah, I think that's, for me, it's just for people to find your bliss. And there are programs that, you know, when you graduate and you move forward, there are some that are going to want you to teach. There's some that are going to say, well, only research. And that's even changing too. So, you know, it's hard to say. But for me, I think my only advice is just find what's meaningful for you.
I want students to realize though that research can be really fun, right? Like, so like one thing that I'm afraid to put it out there because then y'all are going to be like, you should go do that, but we should, right? In our clinic, we see a lot of clients in our clinic, in our university clinic, which is really cool. And one thing I've been thinking about is like whether we like it or not, when our counselors in training graduate, they are going into a measurement-based care. That's what's going on, right? Here's my question. I'm curious, if we were to take like just one model, like say acceptance and commitment therapy, and we were to like just like teach our students that model, as opposed to, oh, choose a theory, do your thing, would the students that are just practicing from that one model have better outcomes with their clients than those that were saying go? And I want to do that. I want to do that research because I'm starting to think about what we're doing in counseling education where we're like, okay, let's teach all these theories and nerd out and then choose something, go. Might not be the best thing we should be doing. And so that's one piece of research I'm kind of thinking about. Like, what gets you all excited? Like, what kind of stuff are you hoping to do in the future?
I think for me, if I have more time, that would be to do more research on the multicultural sensitivity, in the sense that do more immersion experience where students get outside of their bubbles and engage in cultures that they have never engaged in within a safe space, recognizing that it has to be in a safe space, reaching out to the community and partnering with them. This helps to prepare students to bring up their awareness of who they are as a person and who they're going to be working with. So if I have more time, that's a direction that I would really go. And also integrating self-care into it, because it's ethical responsibility now that we have to take care of ourselves. If you don't do that, then you cannot function effectively with your clients. So you cannot even teach effectively if you don't take care of yourself.
But you're inspiring me right now, Dr. Kemi, because it sounds like you want to research if immersions really do kind of help propel things forward. And again, I'm thinking about my spirituality class, right? Folks that are anti-religious traditions. These are stupid. I mean, I've had students being like, these are stupid, people are ignorant if they connect to this, right? Well, let's go into hospice and let's kind of sit with folks in their suffering while they're dying. And folks are really talking about the religious tradition. You really think they're ignorant now? I don't know. Let's do the research. What's that immersion like for them? Really cool.
Yeah, I love that. And I think the thing about research that when I can get excited about research is the passion piece of what am I really wondering about? What excites me? Those kinds of things. So I love having this conversation. I think something that I am curious about right now is based off of kind of even going off of your spirituality classes, there's some things going on in the world of religion right now in the U.S. And kind of what is going on. And I think from a counseling perspective, how can we as counselors and how can we prepare counselors to meaningfully interact with what is happening within family systems when there's different religious values that are at play, when there's changes in your own religious and spiritual identity, and how can counselors meaningfully interact with all of those components, because there's a big wide world that's on fire, as we've talked about. Right. And your spirituality and religion really can have a framework for some of that to provide meaning. And I don't know that counselors right now are always well prepared to be able to grapple with that in a holistic, meaningful way, not necessarily without coming from this is one perspective, this is this is my secular humanism, this is my Christian counseling, this is my whatever, but being able to grapple with it on a whole level. And how can we train that and then see if it's working? Yeah.
Just to connect what you're both saying, I can say that it's not working because the individualistic approaches counselors take, I don't think folks really realize how much that's kind of seeped in. So when a client comes in and they grew up in a specific religious tradition, and now a younger individual within the system wants to go in a different direction, the counselor many times is yeah, you do you. And I'm not saying that's wrong. Yeah. I'm just saying that that individualistic approach you're taking and the maybe bias you have towards religious traditions, you need to think about that. So anyway, I'm starting to get excited about this conversation because we're learning about research. So hopefully our students are now empowered to go nerd about what ideas they want to do and what they can do. So thank you for, go for it.
Yeah, this is something that just popped up. Is that, we have traditional research where you have a control group and then you have experimental group. But I think there's also a lot of value and I would say this to everyone, is that there are opinion pieces. You can write, there are just really some wonderful things out there that may not necessarily fit into research, but again, depends on what program you're in, but sometimes published articles are just as valuable. So I just want people to be open to that they can also express themselves into the community rather than just, utilizing these very strict sort of protocols in research. Yeah. So, yeah.
Thanks, y'all, for the conversation. We'll get it going again next week.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.